Welcome back, traders. Let's get straight into NEO stock, guys. Stock ticker NIO, because you've done something very beautiful today that I did not expect, right? And I want to cover that. I want to give you guys the update on the day, what the week is going to look like, and then potentially what the future is going to look like. But if you guys find value, if you guys like the passion in which I speak, slap the sub button and let's get into the video. So NEO stock, you've been in this downtrend or this continuation trend, right? And what we were watching for was a potential cup and handle. That failed, or at least broke down for now. Now what we're watching for is this potential inverse head and shoulders as you are looking to finish off that right shoulder accumulation pattern, right? But what you did today was actually pretty significant, guys, because of the reason that you are above the daily RSI band. You've broken out of your symmetrical triangle, and you had an increase in volume for the first time since the beginning of the month. I want to say for the first time since the 3rd of December when you saw that knife down on large volume. So that is an overall bullish thing. That is your first increase of volume on the bullish side since all the way back in the 3rd of November. So that is actually pretty huge, guys. And you can see it came right where it had to. Now, you have not broken back. And I say this, I say it again. You have not broken back into your consolidation pattern. In fact, you bumped your head right on the shelf above it. But if you go into your 4-hour time frame, right, you had this symmetrical triangle that you'd been trading in. You see that pump out. And now you're looking right against it. This is the trend line right here. You are closing candles right beneath it, guys. So it's going to take one sneeze or this 9-day crossing above the 50 to hopefully get you guys above that hump that we so desperately need, right? Because you zoom out, this thing has bounced pretty tremendously once you're back within the channel. Fail to get above it, fail, retest again. If we fail this retest, guys, I would assume we're coming all the way back down here to fill the gap at 450. Now, that's not the end of the world, guys, because I truthfully want to see that happen. Just in all honesty, just to be transparent, I want to see you fill that gap, not just so you can continue to accumulate shares, not financial advice, right? Because NEO is a long-term play. Some could swing it short-term. Hey, you do you, but this is a long-term play on an EV company, seeing as that EV is the future, right? But beyond that, right, you've also gotten your daily MACD cross, and I think you saw the volume off of that today. So that's a beautiful thing, right? Because if you see continuation off of this, you're going to see your first true MACD cross since back here in August. You had one back here. It was short-lived, though. So could be your potential first MACD cross since August. And you can see here, it's coming in such an important time on this chart, because say what you want about charts, right? Charts are great. They're also inconsistent at times, right? Because the market makers are going to do what the market makers want. Composite, man, institutions, right, are going to swing this whatever way they want. But there's one thing for sure, and that is if you get this death cross, that's not a bullish thing, guys. That is a overall bearish trend reversal. So you want to see this swing back and see that V-shaped recovery and get back above 560. Now, getting it back above 560, guys, would not only prevent your death cross on the mat or on the EMAs for NEO, but it would be so huge for the macro picture here. So that is our test going into next week. I don't expect it to happen tomorrow unless you see some kind of like vertical crazy squeeze, right? Which is always possible, but not going to rule that out. But still, not expecting it. So one thing I would also preach is if you do not get back above 560, you're going to see this cross of the weekly 9 below the 50. Every single time you've gotten that cross, explosive things have happened. You had a cross up right on this candle. What happened? 31 or 32% weekly candle. Also happened back here. Let's look at the downside metric for this cross. Happened right here on this candle down, what is that, 19%, 20%? And then you saw what happened afterwards, right? So no bearing to repeat. I do not want to see that happen. But you zoom out, right? When in doubt, what I've always preached is when in doubt, guys, zoom out. And you can see here just how bullish this ramp up of not only bullish volume, right? But this sell-off has been so exaggerated. And the volume is nothing compared to the previous candles, right? So what I'm hoping to see is bulls step in, whether it be some kind of fundamental news or something, right? You got to hold this 450 zone, because if you drop this, guys, you're going all the way down, most likely to either this trend line right here, sitting at approximately 415 to 420, or potentially your triple bottom at 350. Very possible. Very, very possible. So just be careful, right? There's opportunity for this thing to swing back up, and I'll cover the second reason I think that is, right? We covered the MACD. We are now covering the daily RSI band. What you're doing right now, you're clearing this horizontal resistance on the RSI, which is a beautiful thing, right? This is what's really held you down, right there. If you can clear that, 35 in the RSI, you're clearing your previous top, and that gives you the opportunity to then go higher. Now, beyond that, you really just got to get above previous support, because previous support is so much acting as resistance, and this is the case for a lot of your smaller cap stocks. You see it in GameStop as well, right? Just go to the 4-hour really quick, or the daily. Previous resistance or previous support, new resistance, right? So you're seeing that almost to a T. You got slapped, absolutely slapped down. So I don't want to see that on NEO. Otherwise, you're most definitely going down to this 450 level. Now, not the end of the world, right? But if you want to see that recovery, you're going to do it now. You're going to do it with volume, and you're going to do it fast, right? So that's what I want to see on NEO stock. That's the daily. Now, I wanted to cover this in the weekly because it still rings true to me, and it's still something that I expect to happen, right? We expect the most likely outcome to be that you come down here to 450. Now, if you come down to 450, I'm watching for this touch on the RSI weekly uptrend, and you guys can chart this yourself. I'm in logarithmic, in case you guys were wondering. But you have 1, 2, 3 taps along this uptrend so far. It is a certified freaking uptrend. This thing has been absolutely explosive. Every time you move off of it, just look at the moves that ensue, right? This first, or let's go off the first tap. Take it from the top, right? This first tap, you drop, or you ran 70%, right? So this thing is pretty significant every single time. So you tap that 70%. You tap this, 45%. You tap this, and we all know 142%, right? So if you can hold this uptrend while coming down to 450, not only is that going to be a touch of bullish divergence because you have flat support, but a higher low on the RSI. But I'm hoping, right, that you see that higher high on the stock, upwards of $10. That is the goal, right? To see that continuation of what you've seen from these taps of higher highs, right? And inevitably, God willing, we get back above 771, and this thing is going to go crazy, guys. It's going to go so nasty. But beyond that, right, 771 is a crucial horizontal level. As you can just zoom out here, you see all the different taps along this stock's history. It has honestly acted as the flip or the ignition for this thing to rocket. But there's so much that we have to do before that happens. Now, I wanted to cover this because I was just looking at NEO on Twitter and seeing if anything came up. And this came up from a shareholder, right? So this was the first time they've seen estimated EPS on Robinhood for Q4. Now, that's kind of crazy that they are being priced in as profitable. And if this is able to happen. Higher. Higher is all I can say. I think you're going to go higher. So hopefully you see the deliveries take up, the margin continues to trend in a positive direction, and you should see this careful grind outside of this box trading, because that's what this is. This is range bound trading, right? And it makes for very profitable swings if you're able to tag the low and ride it to the high. Tag the low, take it to the high. But I'm sure if you've been holding since all the way back here, you're getting pretty stale of this price action. So inevitably, this is going to break, right? Just like this broke. This is going to break at some point. So, what else? What else we got on Neo? Our girl. What's a good girl name for Neo? Let's look that up. What's a good girl name for Neo stock? You know how people name their cars? That's what we're doing. We're naming the stock. Give me something good, Grok. Neo. Nadia. Not Noelle. I'm going with Noelle. Our girl Noelle needs to break free of the chains, needs to break 771, and needs to hold 450. So you guys know the levels, right? These are the range-bound levels that this thing is going to continue to chop in until some kind of fundamental improvement happens. But just from a macro perspective, right, this is a falling broadening wedge or some kind of consolidation pattern. Typically, when you found the low, right, you make that higher low and then you break free. Now, you did break free, then broke back in, which is not a great thing, right? But if you wanted to take your full profit target from that breakout, you're taking that right there. You're taking the width of your falling broadening wedge and you're sticking it on top of the place that you break out. So let's say we break out along this uptrend. It happens in March of 2026, right? Well, you can then tabulate or calculate a minimum return of $18 on Neo stock, and that's fascinating. That is fascinating to me. So whether or not it happens along this uptrend or you have more price discovery, I'm long-term bullish on Neo. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, but there's genuinely so many good catalysts happening in the markets right now. And let's just look no further. Let's look no further than what is the most bullish catalyst in Neo stock right now, and that is IWM, guys. The basket, small cap basket index that it is sitting inside right now is about to go freaking loco. It's about to go absolutely crazy. You can see here, breaking free of the all-time highs, made another all-time high today, hitting 258.01 and breaking free of this horizontal resistance finally, right? Finally beginning to run. On the weekly time frame, you've now flipped this and confirmed it, just like we had talked about, as a bear trap, right? Everyone is extreme fear down here at, what was that, 230, and now you're at 260, about to absolutely cook shorts all the way up to 300. So when I say risk on is closer than you think, guys, I truly believe the entire market sentiment is about to be flipped on its head. You look at the fear and greed index, and this thing is sitting now at neutral. Praise be, right? We were sitting in extreme fear for like a full month and a half. I mean, crypto's still almost in extreme fear. So we have so much of this dial to go before we end up hitting this top, in my opinion. And I don't know what to say, guys. I'm genuinely just so bullish. So we go to IWM. On TradingView, this is where I got my extra cool shades, because consistently what you've done is as soon as you break this horizontal plane of resistance, here you broke it, retest it, and now you're freaking rocket ship, right? I'll make that extra big. I think you've got room to come all the way up to 300, and just like you did back here, right? Falling broadening wedge, broke the horizontal resistance, you slungshot from 160 all the way up to 236. Same thing here, horizontal plane of resistance. You broke it at 126, came all the way up to 174. horizontal resistance. You broke it at 84, came all the way up to 129, and it goes on and on and on. That is quite literally the history of our risk on assets index, the Russell 2000. So the fact that you are repeating, guys, history does not repeat, but so often does it rhyme, and it is beginning to rhyme again. So if you guys found value in this, if you guys love the way I talk, if you guys love the passion in which I try to bring every single day, slap the subscribe button and join the freaking team. We're here every single day covering NEO, AMC, GameStop, and crypto. And as always, guys, God bless, and remember, the best is yet to come. Peace. Woo!